It is me, your True Hill Phenom SP3. We are back live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter for our A&E Biography Macho Man Randy Savage review. I am back once again with the connoisseur of reporting, my co-host for these A&E Biography reviews, Romeo Anthony Cologne. What's going on, brother?
What up, brother? What's up, everyone watching? I feel very, very dirty after watching that biography. We're going to get into it. I can't wait.
Dark Side of the Ring returns this coming week, and we witness A&E Biography Dirt Side of the Ring
What a smooth transition.
on this edition of the Macho Man Randy Savage, the A&E Biography for one of the greatest of all time. Push the like button if you're watching us right now on YouTube. If you're watching us on Facebook, drop us a like, drop us a heart emoji, a laugh emoji, an angry emoji, however you felt watching the A&E Biography Macho Man Randy Savage. Most importantly, though, if you're watching on YouTube, Facebook, or Twitter, drop your thoughts in the live chat. If you have not been able to watch the A&E Biography for the Macho Man Randy Savage, drop us a comment. Let us know what you think about the entire career of Macho Man Randy Savage. Let us know what your favorite moment was, what your favorite promo was, what your favorite rival of the Macho Man was. Let us know in the live chat. These live streams are all about your contributions, your interactions. So let us know in the live chat so you could be a part of the show as well. If you're new to the True Hill Heat YouTube channel, smash that subscribe button, hit the bell to stay notified so you always get the great content right here on True Hill Heat. Romeo, you're usually the pilot of the DeLorean. You run the show on NX3. Take us away on the latest
Ready for this ride?
latest edition of A&E Biography for the Macho Man, Randy Savage. Let's take this ride.
The first half should be smooth sailing. They start off this biography, going with his background. His father, a wrestler, Angelo Poffo. They talk about his brother. His brother's in this. Of course, he had to be. Lanny Poffo had to be so well-spoken. One of the best parts of this biography. We got some footage of his mother. She's Jewish. She had to grow up in the times of Hitler. You can only imagine. You can already see how tough a background Randy Savage had just in his family alone. And Lanny said it was like having two dads with Randy and Angelo. Randy would stick up for all the guys in school getting bullied. You learn some more about his character. He was all into sports. He never dated. Somebody who would become the Macho Man never really dated in school much. He's a baseball player. He got in the minor leagues, a Cardinal system. He got hurt in a collision at home plate, hurt his shoulder. But then you see more about his character. He learns to throw left-handed. Sick. But baseball obviously didn't work out. And then we go into wrestling. Anything on the early days of Randy you want to talk about?
I like the to tell the whole story, to kind of go in depth on how he made his journey, from growing up to being a baseball player. This was one part of this A&E biography that was a little bit different from Dark Side of the Ring. Dark Side of the Ring likes to kind of touch on these things without going into too many details. They like to go into like the more details on the more like bigger moments and like bigger like scandals and controversies of the person's career, whereas here they kind of told the story properly. Kurt Hawkins was a random addition to this A&E biography, especially because he's not employed by WWE anymore, but he was one of the few that kind of knew his baseball career, so it was a good contribution, even though it was a strange one.
And they show his like action figure, his toy, and I was like, what the hell is this? But they did that for everyone. That was kind of cool. Yeah. They talk about the territories, and how the Poffos start their own promotion, and that in this promotion, Randy would openly challenge the man of the other promotion in the area, Jerry the King Lawler. And Jerry said it escalated into a gang war, that people actually started carrying guns, as I hear some gunfire outside right now. The Poffos were known as nuts. But they eventually run out of money for their promotion, and Randy sent a letter apologizing to Jerry about all that went down, and that hopefully they could one day work together. And that's exactly what happens. They talk about the Macho Man, how that name came about, the Village People, the famous song, Macho Man.
Yeah, I want to be a macho man. They even showed the music video. That was a good touch.
Yes. A bit uncomfortable, but a good touch. That's what she said. Lenny said that the Savage part of his name just came from Randy earning it. Shocker. And then he was talking about how he finally asked for help from Lonnie. That's something he would never do. And they talked about the story of him coming up with the oh yeah. I didn't get the name of the character. Did you? I did. It was hard to
Fabio, it's one of the old Savage characters. Damn it, I should have wrote it down, but
Lonnie said that he never ever heard Randy's regular voice again, which I found hilarious. That's getting into character. Then we transport into 1984. We see the rise of Hulk Hogan. WWE is calling Macho Man. Macho Madness is about to begin. 1985, he makes his debut. Vince McMahon, shocker. Ugh, he's small. Bruce Pritchard says what he lacked in height, he made up for with intensity. And they had this angle where everyone's bidding for his services to be his manager, which I thought was a unique angle. You don't really see that too much nowadays.
No.
And the Macho Man picks a lovely, beautiful lady, the love of his life, Elizabeth.
Yes, I think this was an excellent angle by WWE at the WWF at the time, because it immediately made the Macho Man someone that the people wanted to watch and made him desirable, because he was so desirable to all the managers of the WWF, and him choosing, kind of turning the whole manager angle on its head and choosing this brand new character. It kind of brought the Macho Man to life, because he's the Macho Man, but he's more Randy Savage at this point. I think Miss Elizabeth kind of completed the whole Macho Man character, because you kind of have to have a woman by your side if you're the Macho Man. It kind of just made the whole thing come together, in my opinion.
They talk about how they met. They met at a gym. Elizabeth was working at a gym, and they married 6 months before his venture into WWE. And brought his bro. He brought Lonnie to WWE too. He brought his wife. It was all a part of his deal. What a guy! Like, hey, I know about the side, but can you help out my brother? Can you help out my wife with a job too?
And it's like the Macho Man. The Macho Man is like early. It's like the inspiration for Eminem. How Eminem decided to take all of D12. You got a random fat guy in a shower cap. You got the rapper who's hosting the battle raps in town. You got a whole bunch of rappers who were like out in the first round of the tournament of the battle rap, and they created D12. He wanted everybody to eat. That's what Macho Man did. Macho Man set the path for a lot of like sports athletes, rappers. Like, this was Macho Man kind of setting the bar for taking the people that grew up with you or were in your family with you to the top.
Vince McMahon apparently Macho wanted to do Elizabeth as a commentator, but Vince said commentating was a waste of Elizabeth. And Natalya talked up Elizabeth. She talked up Elizabeth huge. And Natalya was great talking about that, how much it meant to her as a woman. And Natalya said it was revolutionary that Elizabeth could be a manager for the Macho Man. And you had Eric Bischoff's wife. I missed her name, but she talked about the Beauty and the Beast dynamic that was Elizabeth and Randy. And Jake the Snake Roberts said Elizabeth was like a queen in the wrestling biz.
She was. It was the first. She's very much the first lady of professional wrestling. I know it sounds like just a nickname or just like some cliche, but in a lot of eyes, especially in the WWF in that era, like the women's division was kind of very sparse in their use, to say the least. Like, you got Wendy Richter and Fabulous Moolah's storyline and feud around like WrestleMania 1 time into like towards like WrestleMania 2. But after their whole blow up with the screw job and everything, it was just Moolah. It was just Moolah against whatever female could wrestle at the time. And they weren't really featured and they didn't mix it up really with the guys. Miss Elizabeth was the first lady to really do that, to get directly involved or to be involved with such a character that she was like the key piece to this whole character that was really being built up to be the 1B or the number 2 to Hulk Hogan.
And then, we're going to get into this. Jerry the King Lawler starts bringing up how Macho Man's a bit overprotective of Elizabeth. How she would get locked in the dressing room. Hogan said Randy would say, "Don't look at my wife, brother." Then in promos, you even see it goes to television. You see promos of Randy chastising Elizabeth for even speaking, telling her to rub his belt, shine it up real nice. If I lose, this is all your fault tonight. On TV, it was very entertaining. Behind the scenes, probably not so much.
I don't think so. I don't think so. This kind of seems domestic violence-y, maybe a little abusive. Yes. Yeah, yeah, I can understand why people say that. Even looking back on it now, it's not a good look. And we even got the post edit comments from Bruce Pritchard. WWE does not believe in the things that they did in this time, so we would never do something like that today. I don't know if you peeped that, but that was not Bruce sitting there saying that. That was in a post edit. So it was probably after everything was shot, and then they saw the footage that was going to be used for this documentary. They had Bruce Pritchard on behalf of the WWE say that the WWE would never do something like this today. So I like the fact that I peeped that was definitely a post edit afterwards voiceover.
I think I wrote that down somewhere in my notes. I didn't know it was Bruce saying it though.
Yeah, it was Bruce.
But anyways,
he's the company yes man. Of course, it's Bruce.
Yes. We fast forward to Tampa, and Bubba the Love Sponge is on this biography. He's letting us know all about Tampa. Tampa's the white trash version of Miami. This was very awkward having him and Hulk Hogan on this biography, considering their history, just those two alone. Sid, do you want to explain to our viewers what history I'm referring to?
He's referring to the history that Hulk Hogan smashed Bubba the Love Sponge's wife on a sex tape. The sex tape that would later reveal Hulk Hogan dropping a whole assortment of N-bombs, like he was the Taliban of saying the N-bomb. Yes. But let me just say, Hulk Hogan set the bar real low for contributions for talking heads on these A&E biographies last week, as far as the Roddy Piper review, because Hulk Hogan did not, like he said himself, he acknowledged the fact that him and Roddy Piper weren't really friends. They did business together, they had their feud, and that's why Hogan was in his business mentality. And he was just all about just shutting down the fact that Piper should have jobbed to him so Piper could have made more money, and he's the man. He should have gone over of Hulk Hogan. Mr. T should have gone over on Roddy Piper. Some ridiculous nonsense he was saying last week.
Is Hogan going to be on every damn biography?
He just might. I mean, no, he shouldn't be.
I don't know. He better not be.
He shouldn't be, unless they're going to talk in depth. Unless they're going to talk in depth about Bash at the Beach 2000 and why Booker T becomes heavyweight champion. I don't think there's any use for Hulk Hogan here. Or they're going to talk about Booker T saying nigga, calling him a nigga. Maybe.
Yeah, I love Hogan's expertise on that.
Hogan's like, I've been there before where you said the N-word and you didn't mean to. Yeah, I've been there. I totally understand, Booker. But yes, he set the bar real low last week. But Bubba the Love Sponge done took it right to hell. The bar is already set This is the earliest I will ever give one of the awards for this episode.
Wow.
LVP was
15
set.
minutes in.
LVP was set the moment Bubba the Love Sponge came on my screen and told me that Tampa is known for hookers, ecstasy, Macho Man, and Hulk Hogan. I said, get him the fuck off my flat screen, please. And I had to watch him for another hour and a half. And just know, people, just know, everyone watching, whether you're watching us live, whether you're watching us on demand, we love and care about all of y'all, because I continued watching this crap so I could review it here, even though Bubba the Lunch Sponge was on my screen. And all he did was take this whole biography down with him to the depths of suctitude that he is.
Damn. They changed a little bit of pace. They speak to the Macho Man costume designer. And for some reason, to me, he just seems so annoyed. Like, for someone who made such a fortune from Randy paying him to make so many costumes, he just seemed like he's being bothered to be interviewed here. R-Truth was great. He was like, damn it, it was a pimp outfit when you think about it, when he came out. Macho Man, one of the greatest entrance gears of all time. Who can compete with the Macho Man as far as entrance gear goes?
Macho Man is second to none as far as like entire entrance gear. I mean, Ric Flair has great robes, but
Yes.
no one had entire gear like Macho Man Randy Savage. And that's why it made sense when we're meeting the guy and he's so like nonchalant and so couldn't be bothered. Of course he couldn't be bothered. He's a stylist for 80s pimps and Macho Man Randy Savage. Like, it's Macho Man Randy Savage and all the 80s pimps is his clientele. Why the hell am I on A&E talking to you schmucks? You schmucks went all the way to Tampa Bay to interview Bubba the fucking Love Sponge and thought that this would be a great contribution to our A&E biography. You are on drugs. You spend too much time in Tampa if you thought it was a good idea to interview Bubba the Love Sponge and thought that he would give us anything worthwhile to talk about on this whole biography. I'm sorry, but Bubba the Love Sponge was where I hit my peak on this whole shit, and it all went downhill.
And talk about Randy with money, how he spent it on his entrance gear, and that's pretty much it. Vince said he wouldn't even buy anyone coffee. Randy saved his money. Jerry Lawler said he would sleep in his car instead of getting a hotel room. Sting, nice to see Sting on here. Sting doesn't remember him ever buying any kind of lunch or anything like that, ever picking up the tab. What a cheapskate.
I like that. I don't know who it was. You probably have it in your notes or could remember, but I like the fact that they explained that the father instilled that in Lanny and Randy about like saving your money, being a wrestler. You know, you're gonna have to save money, and that's what made him kind of be frugal. He was frugal more than cheap to me. He's just being smart. Like, all you fucks, if I pay for one person's drink, all of y'all gonna ask for drinks. Like, he's just being smart as far as I'm concerned.
And considering all the money he spent on his entrance gear, that must have been a pretty penny.
Exactly. He only really spent money if it was gonna bring money back to him, which is smart to me. It's just being frugal. I don't think he was cheap. That's my hot take of this biography so far.
Then you talk about his entrance gear, you have to talk about his entrance music. Pomp and circumstance, how different it was from everyone else's, and how it just fit him naturally.
I wish we had heel Steven here with us to do the.
Oh my goodness!
Ooh, yeah, the cream rises to the top. Ooh, yeah,
that was pretty good yourself.
Try.
The honky tonk man emphasizes how much preparation Macho Man would do. Hulk Hogan said basically it was too much. And this leads into a discussion about WrestleMania III. You got Hogan and Andre the Giants, but there was a match that stole the show. I always love to hear Ricky the Dragon Steamboat talk about this because you just see him light off. This match means so much to him. Randy, of course, worked out every single part of that match on a notepad. 160 plus steps, Steamboat said. And Randy and Ricky would go back and forth quizzing each other. What was step 33? What's step 45? And Ricky said, forget the whatever amount of attendance there was in that building. He was stressed just alone from having to memorize every single part of that match. If I were a wrestler, I could never, ever, I don't even know what I had for breakfast this morning, memorize 160 steps to a match.
I'm just saying, Randy or Ricky could be like Hollywood actors because these motherfuckers got to remember like 100-page scripts for certain movies. But at least they get a take. They take one take. If they get it wrong, they'll to do another take. They get to take their takes. This is one shot. You got one shot to get it right. You've been practicing on the live event circuit, but you got one shot in front of these 93,000 to get it perfectly right. And the fact that they did it, excellent, tremendous, one of the greatest matches in WrestleMania history. I don't think it gets enough credit because it's very simple but it's timeless. And you can watch it today and you would still be entertained by it and still understand of like how much these guys are working and how hard they're working to kind of have a masterpiece and the first ever WrestleMania classic. What I want to talk about here on this section of the biography, though, is Hulk Hogan sounding like a damn fool and looking like a delusional fucking idiot once again, as he says, I don't think Ricky and Randy were trying to steal the show or take the attention from me and Andre. That's the farthest thing from the truth. And then the editors just went right to Ricky the Dragon Steamboat saying, yeah, the goal of the match was to take the attention away from Hogan and Andre. We would totally try to steal the show. Like, it just made Hogan just sound so delusional. Like, no one's trying to come from my spot. No one can steal the show from me. But yeah, we stole the show from you, Hogan.
I loved Lanny's line saying that the match ruined Randy's life because he could never top it. Man, what a line.
Yeah, at least like Ricky went on to have his trilogy with Flair in 1989. Like, who did Savage have really to do, and who did he have to like do long programs with that were gonna give him like the classics that he would want like that? Like Flair's gonna work his match. Flair's gonna work his match.
If he would have stayed in WWF, Shawn Michaels. But
yeah,
they didn't want him to stay. They didn't want him to wrestle. Vince didn't want him.
That's on Vince. Like, Vince is the one that put it. And I will give them credit because this is the first time really on a WWE production that they really emphasize how wrong Vince was. At least they did that. I think they undermined a lot of his WCW run on this documentary, even though there was a lot of truth said about his WCW run. But I love the fact that they did acknowledge that Vince messed up. And they acknowledge how shocking the Vince, like, basically departure speech or farewell speech was, like him being on commentary after Macho Man already showed up on WCW and wishing him well. That didn't happen. That didn't happen afterwards. It didn't happen before that. Like, that shows how much Vince cared about and appreciated Macho Man, in my opinion.
They talk about merchandise, how Hogan says he and Randy would sell out everything everywhere they went. Vince said nobody could touch Hulk, but Randy came close. And Bubba the Love Sponge said Hogan may have resented Randy for that. Hogan immediately denied it in the smooth editing that they did.
Immediately. He immediately denies anything that makes him look in any type of light outside of positive. Oh, no, wasn't jealous.
They don't really go deep into the Hogan Macho Man WrestleMania, but they do show a little bit of the angle. And one of my favorite freaking lines of all time: "You got lust in your eyes.
You got lust in your eyes."
There you go. Much better. And then I cringed when they bring up the George the Animal Steel match where he gets to keep Elizabeth if he wins. This reminded me of True Rewind, WCW, Diamond Doll, Kimberly. How many times she was put up for grabs? Jesus.
At least they never went through on it. And this was a long angle as well. I think he was feuding with George the Animal Steel for a year. Like George the Animal Steel was in Ricky the Dragon Steamboat's corner when he versed Savage at WrestleMania 3.
The Honky Tonk Man talks about how he had to practice pushing Elizabeth in their hotel room to get it right for the angle.
For 2 hours.
Yes. Jake the Snake slaps her. Jake talks about how it was more heat than the snake biting Randy. Remember that? And Jake says, "Can you imagine that today?" Slapping a woman like that. Yes, I can imagine it, Jake.
I couldn't, because that was immediate heat. You look at Will Ospreay. This man did a diamond cutter to his girlfriend, and they had people claiming that he was committing domestic violence on camera. Like, yeah, like no, you can't do it nowadays. It just won't happen or won't go off well.
Back then, for its time, oh my god,
Yeah,
that was
that's huge. That's why Savage and I still to this day, even though I think I've said it before, I'll say it again. I love WrestleMania 8. I said this last week talking about Piper and Hart. I love WrestleMania 8. I love Macho Man and Ric Flair, the storyline with Flair photoshopping pictures of Miss Elizabeth with him. Like
Photoshop
ahead of his time, the centerfold and everything. Great stuff. But to this day, I still think Flair Hogan should have been the main event, and Savage should have versed Jake the Snake at WrestleMania. They have been building this feud since after SummerSlam when Jake and Undertaker interrupted the wedding reception. These motherfuckers fought through the Royal Rumble. Savage almost eliminated himself from the Royal Rumble trying to fight Jake the Snake. And they have their blow off on a fucking TV show called Tuesday in Texas. Tuesday in Texas. Or I think it was Tuesday in Texas. I'm not even sure. I just know that it was on TV, and I'm all for popping a good rating, and I'm all for, whatever competition was on there. But Jake the Snake and Macho Man, they had a feud that just would have been perfect blowing off at WrestleMania.
always be one of those big WrestleMania what ifs. Then they briefly go into Macho Man going full bad guy, the Macho King with Sherry. Sherry turns on him. Elizabeth returns. What a moment that was! But this was very brief, touched upon.
Yeah, and they didn't really talk about the matchup with the Ultimate Warrior, which I'm assuming that that is because they're going to talk about that more during the no. Are they doing the Ultimate Warrior one? They are doing the Ultimate Warrior one, right?
I believe so. Yes.
And that's jarring. That's going to be very jarring because at least we've had years since the Macho Man Dark Side of the Ring episode. Literally, Dark Side of the Ring this season is doing the Ultimate Warrior. So this is going to be direct comparison.
Oh, they are?
Yes. It's going to be direct comparisons from this A&E biography to the Dark Side of the Ring. Yo, imagine.
Oh, man.
Content.
We're going to do one mega episode. They talk about life on the road, of course. This is going to be on every episode. Cocaine, pills. Except for the Steve Austin one. The husband-wife dynamic on the road they touch on. Bubba with an awful line. Doesn't know if anyone can do that today. I know a few husband-wife dynamics on the road. Bubba, just so you know.
Yeah, I mean, Bubba the Love Sponge. I'm not gonna go with more
because you and your wife are having problems doesn't mean everyone and their wives are having problems.
Huh? He's like being a cuckold's a regular thing, right?
Jesus. What are we doing? The wrestling wedding, the match made in heaven, 1991. Everything's all good on screen, but not so much behind the scenes. Peter Rosenberg, I thought, brought up a fascinating question at this point. He wonders how much the worst of Randy Savage was brought out by professional wrestling. I just found that question very fascinating.
I mean, it's they kind of touch on a bunch of things of how he kind of had to change his mentality, and he had to play his character all the time, and even though his playing off of Miss Elizabeth kind of made his character, especially the heel he was at the time, doing that all the time, even when the cameras are not on you, that's not the best thing for a marriage. I'm just saying. I'm just being honest here. That's not the best thing for a marriage, and that might be why a couple of years later Liz decided to peace out, give him the deuces, and then ride on up to Uncle Hulk's condo with Linda.
Jimmy Hart, the Mafia of the South. Sounds like one of those friends who just give it to you straight and tell you how it is. He said he told Randy that maybe it's not that she wants a divorce, maybe she just wants a little freedom.
Sounds like good advice, Randy. Maybe you should have gave her the space that she needed beforehand, because it sounds like Randy only gave up. There was only a power shift in the relationship between Randy and Elizabeth when Elizabeth just had enough. When Elizabeth just had enough, that's when Randy became basically subservient to her. Like he had been the dominant person in the relationship for so long, but he finally became subservient and was kind of looking for Elizabeth and seeking her approval when she just had enough and she left him.
Jerry Lawler brings up how the boys would, see something is wrong, but nobody really wanted to step in and deal with Randy's drama. I guess he didn't really have that close friendship with anyone that could really just, I don't know, step in there and say something but.
His closest friend was Hogan.
Yeah. And speaking of Hogan, he's out filming a movie. I forgot where it was, but
Mr. Nanny, and I think it's in Miami.
And you might know the story better than me. Liz they invite her to come hang with them.
So because Hulk is filming Mr. Nanny, he's not spending that much time at home. So Linda is by herself with Nick and Brooke, and she invites Elizabeth. She was like, "Oh, if you're not too busy, if you want to get away for a little bit, it's just me and the kids. Terry is away filming a movie. We're in this nice little country club. Come hang with us if you want to hang with us for a couple of days." So she comes. She comes with a big car. Linda Hogan told this story very well on the Dark Side of the Ring episode for the Macho Man and Elizabeth, how Elizabeth came. She was with her for like a day. They're hanging out by the pool, and Elizabeth starts talking to some guy, and she went off with him, and she doesn't see her for the rest of the night. And then the next day, she doesn't really see her, and she's just off. And then she also tells the story of seeing Elizabeth by the pool with the guy and kind of asking her, like, what's going on? And she telling her that, I met him and he has like an extra bed in his room. It's a little bit more space, away from everything. And she's like, well, I don't think that's a good idea because you really haven't talked to Macho Man about where you stay. I think you should talk to him before you continue to stay with him. And Alyssa's like, okay, whatever. And then Linda explains coming back to the house, and then a couple of hours later, Macho Man shows up. Now, on this biography, Hogan kind of told it from his perspective, but it matches up exactly with what Linda kind of explained, that Hulk was gone. He was filming Mr. Nanny in Miami. He comes back late. He talks about how the first couple of days he sees her stuff there. He saw the car there, but he never really saw her. He sees the bed has not even been like laid in. And then after the second night, he's like telling Linda, like, if she gonna be here, she need to be here, because if she has her shit here and she's not here, she needs to get her shit out, because I don't want the heat, brother. I don't want that madness heat, brother. And then the next night, that's when she's still not there. He takes a shower, and then all he hears is Macho Man approaching Linda, like, where is Elizabeth? Where's Elizabeth? And a whole big argument transpires. They go to the country club. manager, Hogan explains, who gets the key for Elizabeth's room, and he barges in the room. You don't know if the guy is there. Like, whoa. Hogan explains that he just jetted off. He didn't want to see all of that. Cop cars come. It's like insane. It's a whole crazy story. And this was like on the Dark Side of the Ring episode. I had similar feelings here. It doesn't paint Elizabeth in the best light. And, you know, it's hard when they're talking about people that are no longer with us. It kind of feels like you're bashing them, you're putting them down. But if this happened, this happened. And it just seemed like Elizabeth tried to avoid her problem with Randy and start a new problem instead of addressing what needed to be addressed for a man that she loved because she married.
Now, I didn't buy what Hulk Hogan was selling here. Hogan not realizing that Liz was uneasy. Come on. Hogan says he guessed he should have told Randy from the beginning that Liz was going to be with him. Hogan not realizing that she didn't leave Randy or anything like that. You know, Hogan doesn't have the best track record when it comes to, you know, trust him.
No,
I don't know.
No, but we got a slight, and you know, slight is a lot for this man. But we got a slight acknowledgement of being wrong. He said, "I guess I should have hit him up. I should have hit him up right away as soon as I knew she was there." Yes, you fucking idiot. You lack of self-awareness, fucking cunt. You should have called your friend. You should have fucking had common sense. Let Randy know where his fucking wife is. How would you feel if Linda shows up to Randy's house and Randy doesn't call you and she's run out on you? How would you feel, Hogan? No, we don't have that type of sense. I guess I should have hit him up. You don't know. You should have just had the full acknowledgement that you were wrong, and that as soon as you saw Elizabeth there, you should have contacted your friend. That's your friend. Elizabeth is not your direct
I hope that's
friend.
something you told your boy when he was still alive and not in his biography years later. Then we get the Vince wanting Randy on commentary. Randy still wanted to wrestle, and so he goes to WCW, and Vince is blindsided by this. Jerry said when he told Vince the news, Vince no-sold it. But Vince was graceful on commentary. Vince from the present day says that he was hurt by it. And Jake the Snake Roberts adds that wasn't Randy Savage's character. He didn't want to do that, but he did that.
Yeah, I mean, Randy would have loved to stay in WWF. I think we all know that. But when they're trying to put you out to pasture, you have one of two choices. You either go somewhere that values you a little bit more and knows that you have a little bit more gas in the tank, or you let them put you out back and put you in a position that fits their business and where they want to go a little bit better. You had people like the Big Show who felt like he was getting taken out to pasture at the Legends Night, and now he's with AEW. You had people like Christian Cage, who was told for 7 years that he couldn't wrestle, and even when he gets himself back healthy, they don't really have plans for him, so he goes over to AEW. And then you have people like a Jason Jordan who got hurt, got a series of concussions. Maybe he could have worked hard and tried to get back into the ring, but he was more comfortable and he found a role as a producer that kind of suited him better and that preserves his life a little bit more. It depends on where you're at in life or what type of injury you are, but the Macho Man had no injuries. So this is one that makes absolutely no sense. It makes Vince McMahon look bad. And of course, we didn't even get a slight acknowledgement from Vince that he was wrong, but at least he was there to be for everyone else to say that that was a bonehead move.
Then we get to the Monday Night War, of course. Hogan said Randy wasn't done. Smart move, going to WCW. Bischoff says it didn't cost a dime. And Lanny backs that up because he got $750,000 per year from Slim Jim.
Woo! Just Macho Man was an absolute G with that Slim Jim's deal, yo. Let that Slim Jim's deal, man. I think WWE superstar, any of them nowadays, they would have loved something like that. Like This is your deal? This is your deal because you can take it from WWF to WCW. It has nothing to do with WWE. WWE would not let a single person have their own sponsorship with a company like Slim Jim nowadays. You gotta work that shit through WWE. The Miz, who came from reality shows, does not have a reality show that doesn't include WWE production. Because he is a WWE superstar. So they make sure that if you gonna have a reality show, oh, WWE production gonna be a part of this shit. You're not about to have nothing on the side. All you people that got shit on the side, it's a gym, it's a coffee shop, it's a production company that nobody heard of. Like, it's nothing major like a Slim Jim's deal. WWE would never allow that in 2021.
And then they talk about in his WCW time how he was getting a bit bigger. Jake the Snake brings up steroids and thinks he did it. He's been wrong before, though, he says. Peter Rosenberg says that in WCW he was never a threat to Hogan's spots. He was always in Hogan's shadow. Mean Gene Okerlund says they didn't get along. And then there's the return of Elizabeth. Eric Bischoff says that Randy was one of the biggest advocates to bring her back. He said, hey, if there's money to be made, let's make money.
Yeah, it was a wise decision to bring Elizabeth in when they did. It created a whole new story, and the fact that they could turn Elizabeth, side her with like Ric Flair, and do the Liz versus Macho Man thing for a little bit, it made things very interesting. So I think it was the right decision on WCW's part. It was the right decision in Macho Man to see money in it, and it was a great decision on Elizabeth's part because, you know, although they did feud for a little bit, eventually they got back together because Macho Man and Liz is the best use of Liz in wrestling. Period. We see this has been proven correct on every single level, including personal life, as we'll get into.
And then they start talking about how Liz and Lex Luger are getting a bit close together. Sting says, I wouldn't do that. Eric Bischoff says, shit. And Sting says Randy was kind of over it. And you see footage from Randy speaking in 2000. He doesn't believe in taking anything to the grave. No problem. Life goes on.
Yeah. Randy, I give you all the credit in the world. Like Randy, it seems like his whole response to the Liz and Lex Luger relationship, it kind of in my way, maybe it's just because I'm a big Macho Man fan. It kind of makes up for being so overprotective and kind of obsessive in the relationship. The fact that, you know, you could kind of just let it go after it's done, and a dude that's supposed to be your coworker is now trying to get with her when you brought her in. Like, that could totally go the wrong way with the type of personality that we've established here that Macho Man had, and the fact that he responded in that way, it kind of makes up for the way he was on camera and what it sounds like off camera with Liz.
Then we fast forward to Tampa, 1999. Kevin Nash lit up like a Christmas tree, talking about how Randy was no longer consumed with Elizabeth. They could hang out together. They could be boys. They could go hang out at the clubs, drinks, and all that. And this is how Randy meets Gorgeous George, who was fighting with some guy at the strip club. Randy meets her, and Hulk Hogan says that she was great eye candy and could replace Liz. I groaned.
Oh man, yeah, that was horrible. That was horrible. I was like, this is why Hogan shouldn't be here. Like, why? Why? Why would you say that? Jesus.
Randy's with Gorgeous George now. He changes up his look. He's got a lot more leather. Her son talks about how great Randy was with him. And Gorgeous George confirms steroid use by Randy, says that his dad would help inject the steroids, talks about how they did plenty of alcohol, steroids, downers, ecstasy. Ecstasy was huge. Plenty of ecstasy. And they were even high on WCW doing promos.
That's not surprising with that promo. I remember that ridiculous outfit that they came out in, and the Macho Man did seem like he was high. So I appreciate the confirmation, Gorgeous Storage. I think it was great to have her here. I thought she was great telling the whole story. And this is commonly a part of Macho Man's career that isn't really acknowledged or talked about enough, and you usually don't have the people there that can tell this story. And having Gorgeous George kind of was a difference in telling him, like, kind of going through the personal life and getting deeper into the drugs. And it's surprising because this is a guy who was on top in the 80s, yet we didn't hear that from Lanny or anyone that was with him in the 80s, that he was like that he partied hard in that way, because he was with Elizabeth. He was focused on getting to the top. He had a goal and he just stuck to it. So he didn't do everything else. And they kind of talked about that the early part of his life, from his mom talking about him and the way he was. So you can understand. And then once he got to partying, when you've been away from partying that long in your life, like you get all the way to your fucking 40s, it's like, yeah, like Kevin Nash said, it's like we got the freshman in high school who just is out there discovering life, doing it for the first time. So he kind of went in too deep. When you wait that long, you're kind of gonna go in too deep, maybe.
George and Randy eventually break up. Gorgeous George admits that she doesn't want to tarnish anyone's reputation, speaking on this biography, but she does bring up how she discovered in the house that her house was under surveillance from Randy. Well, there's some things you can't do in a relationship. There's some things me and you can get away with in our relationship, Sid. And having your girl under surveillance is one of them.
Like, I can understand a babysitter. I can understand, the mommy cam. I can understand that. This man set up surveillance cameras in someone else's house, not his own house. Not. He didn't set up surveillance cameras to make sure Gorgeous George don't steal from him. The motherfucker put up surveillance cameras in her house, a house he doesn't own, a house that he shouldn't belong in, and his cameras, and he should not have eyes in the cameras. And like, the story was so uncomfortable for Gorgeous George and her family that her sister wouldn't show up on camera. This chick was in a dark room telling the story because she was like, I don't want the whole Macho Man stands to come after me. I don't want to go. I don't want these motherfuckers to harass me on social media or come after me, or Lenny Popo send me a fucking poem telling me I'm gonna burn for this. Like, it's like, that's just shocking. That's just, yeah, it's a little, this got really, really dark towards this end. And yeah, this was kind of the start of it.
And I don't know, but I don't want to open a wormhole here, but maybe Gorgeous George should have kept that to herself. Maybe you shouldn't just aired such dirty laundry on a biography about one man's life. Like, I would have kept that one to myself. I don't know. I don't know. It's debatable. You could say Romeo, you're a sexist pig, whatever. I would have kept that one to myself and
like,
leave the dirty laundry at home.
Like, wasn't it supposed to be celebrating the Macho?
Yes. I guess nope. Nope, you're right. It's taking a dark turn. This is the beginning of it. We fast forward to Tampa 2002. Randy and Hogan have a falling out. Shocker. They're on the radio talking trash back and forth between each other. Randy with the Be a Man diss track.
No. Please talk about what led to the Be a Man diss track and that fucking scum of the motherfucking earth, aka Tampa, Bubba the Lung Sponge. Man, this guy freaking bragging. He's not telling a story. He is bragging about insulting and dragging Macho Man on the radio after his death. after his
Whose
death.
biography is this?
Like I just thought I stopped like following whose biography this was like midway through because I was like this is a lot of focus on Macho Man and Liz. Yes, this was a big portion of his career, but when they split it off, it was like, yeah, let's continue to tell the Liz story at the same time we're telling the Macho story. And I'm like, no, but this is supposed to be the Macho Man biography. Like this like at least Dark Side of the Ring told you up front, like it was Dark Side of the Ring, Macho Man, and Elizabeth. So they told their entire story. Even when they split up, they told both of their story. That made sense. On an A&E biography, Macho Man Randy Savage, you could touch on Elizabeth and the Lex Luger relationship. You could touch on that leading to her death. It does not need to be like 25% of this final hour of the show.
Great point. Great point. The Be a Man disc record, you even see a cameo for 50 Cent holding it, promoting it. That was great.
After, once again, the edit made Hogan sound fucking delusional or like he doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. He's like, yeah, I didn't get any traction. And then one of the biggest hip hop stars at the time is holding the fucking CD. You sound stupid, Hogan. And I remember, didn't that chart? Didn't Be a, I don't know, I know his album didn't chart, but I think Be a Man did chart. It was like in the two, maybe in the 100s or something, but I think it did chart.
Lanny Poffo wasn't shy. He said the critics said that it defied physics, it sucked and blew at the same time. Very nice.
Oh, he was waiting for that. He's like, I love Lenny because you know all the cracks and all the jokes that he has on Randy. He's definitely told it to him because that's his brother, and and the way he talks about it, he never could get one up on Randy. So whenever he could, he probably went for it.
And then, as you touch on, this turns into the Miss Elizabeth biography because Hogan tells Bischoff at the time that we will be reading about Elizabeth in 2 years when he saw that she was with like, I was like, grown.
Like, no, but it's the fact, bro, that nobody like everybody keeps saying this shit, but it's like none of y'all motherfuckers really tried to break them up. Y'all didn't really like try to break this up. Like y'all all saying, oh yeah, you know, we saw the signs. Yo, yeah, we said we're gonna read about her in 2 years. If you say you're gonna read about somebody in the paper, like you think they're gonna die, shouldn't that be the point you do like an intervention or some shit? Like maybe y'all should separate. Maybe y'all should take a little space. Oh, there's nothing you could do when the person in love. Yes, there is things you could do. Like fucking try. It didn't even sound like anyone tried.
Then this turned into the Lex Luger biography. He's popping pills, drinking with Liz. She wouldn't wake up. She's gone. Lex is arrested. Lex admits he had a negative influence and a role, and that he would change it if he could.
I mean, I appreciate Lex because I you know
I
heard
dark stuff, sad stuff. I don't want to hear Lex Luger like this doesn't belong in here in Macho Man stuff.
this was them trying to kind of go into Dark Side of the Ring territory, like kind of go in depth about this stuff because this is never the stuff that WWE really would go in depth on one of their documentaries. So yeah, this was their attempt to do Dark Side of the Ring, but I mean, they had the people to kind of add on to the Dark Side of the Ring episode because they actually had Lex Luger there. It wasn't like the stock footage or the stock comments that he had from the Eric Bischoff podcast like we did on Dark Side of the Ring. So at least you had Lex Luger here to make this part a little bit different. But like I said, this is the Macho Man Randy Savage biography. This is a lot on Lex Luger and Elizabeth in the last, especially the last 30 minutes of the show.
Lanny doesn't think that Randy had any animosity towards Lex as far as all that was concerned. Jerry the King Lawler said Randy was able to move on from wrestling. We see Randy with the Spider-Man role. Remember that? That was great.
Yes.
and he was able to be himself and not be Randy Savage.
Yeah, I like that they kind of mentioned this and tried to bring this back onto a happier tone. It was a very jarring because you're just talking about someone's death and how the drug use in a relationship that
They
no
did the
one.
same thing last week with the Piper documentary,
Yeah, they did. They did.
in
They did.
a lesser sense, but this one
But
is even.
but with Piper, he had a peaceful, passing, and there was some tranquil or some glimmer of happiness in the way that he passed away because he was able to be home with Kitty. In here, there is no glimmer. There is no glimmer. The only glimmer of this is the fact that Lex Luger has grown and been able to kind of see that what he had, the type of effect that he had on Elizabeth's life, so he can fully acknowledge, and he's self-aware enough to know that type of stuff. That's the only glimmer, and that's not even a glimmer. That's just like, well, at least he's trying to become a better person, type of thing.
I was thinking, WWE on the Peacock, they're gonna have the icons. They're gonna have one on Lex Luger. Do you think they're gonna touch on this?
I mean, if you're gonna tell the entire Lex Luger story, I don't know. I did watch the Icons Beth Phoenix today, which was actually really good. I thought it was, yeah, I would say it's better than the Yokozuna one in my opinion because Beth is very endearing. So they have a nice bar to reach. I think the bar's been set by Beth Phoenix, so I'm interested to see the Lex Luger one. See if they touch on this stuff, which I
I
don't
enjoyed
think
them
they
both.
should.
I think it helps that Beth Phoenix one that she's alive to tell her story, and Yokozuna's
Exactly.
not. I think it helps. They talk about how he was reunited with his high school sweetheart, and Kevin Nash says he found peace. They fast forward to Tampa 2011. Hogan sees him. He looks good. He notices that he's remarried, and Hogan said it made Hulk Hogan's life to see how happy Randy Savage was, and that Randy forgave him. That brought Hulk Hogan peace. You see old man Randy. You see footage of him with a white beard. He's at peace. He's happy. Um, they mention how he's slowed down. Kevin Nash mentions how he's slowed down. He's not so much Randy Macho Man Savage anymore. Um, and then the sad accident, the car accident. He has a heart attack while driving. His wife tries to steer the vehicle, but they accidentally steer into a tree, and Randy is pronounced dead, heart attack at 58 years old. That's such a sad ending.
Yeah, man. Like I got sad as soon as I saw well, I think it said Tampa Bay, Tampa, Florida, May 20th, 2011. Like I don't really be remembering too many like celebrity dates passing away. But as soon as I saw that date, I knew that was the date that Macho Man passed away. Like I remember it was in May of 2011. I remember CM Punk having the tights and everything on the Raw that followed it. Like it's like damn, it's tough. It's tough. It's tough to kind of relive that and remember how you felt. Like Macho Man was the wrestler that really was the first wrestler that really made me like really get into wrestling and really get into the characters and want to know more about wrestling. It was the Macho Man that kind of it fed into my fascination of this business. So to see that date and to kind of be reminded of the Macho Man passing and the way he passed in an accident, it's not the peaceful way that we talked about last week with Piper passing. It's an
Yeah.
accident. He could have lived longer. Like that's the sadness that it comes from being reminded of his death.
Then we get towards the ending of this. Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. Kind of
Yeah.
sad. Kind of
I do,
sad.
I do have to answer this comment here from Patrick Williams on YouTube. He says, "Hey, are you guys in real time live right now? It's 11:33 p.m. Eastern time. Yes, we are live right now. We just finished watching A&E Biography, Macho Man Randy Savage, and we are doing a full review. Patrick, Jakes, thanks for joining us. Thanks for commenting on the live chat.
That's what we do, brother. We stay up late and review this. Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, it says he wished he spent more time with him, one-on-one, instead of just talking about wrestling, just going out to get lunch. I thought that was sad. Um,
Yeah.
Hogan says that he would have been haunted without working everything out with Randy before he passed. And they had this super fan. Oh my god, I don't know his name. I didn't write it down. I didn't think he was going to be important. But then at the end, he really, with just a classless line, talks about how, oh, what a Macho Man Randy Savage way to die. It's got to be through a tree, having a heart attack. I thought that was way too low. Way too low. I would never say that about somebody. Tasteless.
I mean, I like when you're gonna have like historians or super fans. That seems to be WWE's new favorite type of cliche or label to give somebody. Super fan. They picked the shittiest two super fans that they could have picked. Like they picked some actor who did a pretty good Macho Man impersonation. I'll give him that, but he didn't really add anything. Peter Rosenberg added that interesting question. But yeah, a broke clock is right twice a day. So great. You added a good
His
question.
last line that he said Macho Man had a 7-year run, one of the best of all time.
He said he had a 7-year run.
Yeah.
Oh well, yeah, I guess 84 through 91. I mean, yeah, I mean, he did come back at the end of 91 into 92, so that could be counted as an 8th year. He did wrestle part-time from 93 through 94, and then he had good matches. He had, I mean, I'll take Macho Man's 1997 over a bunch of different years that he had in WWF. His 97 feuding with DDP, making Diamond Dallas Page a fucking star. I'll take that over a lot of his years.
Spoiler alert! I still gotta revisit this.
I didn't say who won or anything. I just say he made him a star.
I'm fucking with you. So we can wrap up this review with our MVP, LVP. We'll rate this biography on a scale of 1 to 10. We'll start with MVP. I'm always glad to hear from Lanny Poffo. He's so well spoken. I love listening to him talk about his brother. He just glows when he talks about his brother. And I really enjoyed Jake the Snake Roberts. I'll add him to my MVP.
This is an interesting one. I would say this was probably the weakest bunch of talking heads, but I'm gonna give my MVP to Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. I think Ricky the Dragon was a nice contribution, and although it was on a more of a wrestling standpoint that he talked about, I loved his details in like talking about WrestleMania III. I thought it was one of the highlights of this entire biography.
My LVP of this biography, Bubba the Love Sponge, didn't belong. I didn't add anything. It was almost like he was dancing on Randy Savage's grave. Someone who talked harshly of Randy Savage while he was alive. You have him on his biography talking about him long after he's passed. That's rough. And I'm also going to give it to whoever edited this, put it all together. I'll explain in more detail when we give a final score.
Yeah, like I'm sorry. I am one that believes if my family member did not get along with this person, I'm not going to invite them to the funeral. Why do I want to hear what they have to say about this person's life? If they haven't, they've said negative things about them in the past. My person didn't like them. They didn't like them when they were alive. Oh, now they feel so much of remorse for what happened. Well, tough shit. Live with that remorse and remain miserable for the rest of your fucking life, Bubba the Love Sponge. I hope your wife keeps getting porked by a whole bunch of your fucking friends. Take this LVP.
Okay, all right. We'll rate this on a scale of 0 to 10. I'll start. Miss Elizabeth makes up a huge part of Randy Savage's story. I understand that. It really is wrestling royalty, almost the stuff of legend when you compare it to any other male-female dynamic in wrestling history. But this turned into Dark Side of the Ring real quick. With the Liz stuff, the Lex and Elizabeth stuff was so uneasy. I don't think you need. Maybe you could have touched on it, but I think it went a little too much into detail. The Gorgeous George stuff. Um, fuck. Like I said earlier, it's like, yes, I know she was with him, but like, do you have to air out all that dirty laundry? It really drags this down. It drags the mood tonally. The Bubba stuff, classless. It's just three things. I'm naming them back to back to back. Just really dark, bringing the mood down. They tried to make it upbeat at the end, but I was already depressed by that. The tone was long gone. I had a bitter taste in my mouth. If this was a biography to celebrate the life of Randy Savage, it didn't meet that goal at all. In fact, it tarnished the life of Randy Savage. And Randy Savage deserves much better. He's one of the greatest wrestling characters, maybe the of all time. Put the whole package together: the presentation, the entrance, the promos, the wrestling, the character, and yeah, 6.5 out of 10 for me. Randy deserves better.
Whew. That was a harsh take, but a correct take. I'm gonna give it around that range. I was gonna say 6, but yeah, I'm gonna go 5.5, 5.5 out of 10. I always said, like, a lot of these biographies, what I'm seeing is gonna come down to the talking heads. And although I did rate the Roddy Piper review higher than the Austin review, I'm having secondary look and revising my ratings, and I think the Austin one was an 8 out of 10. The Piper one, which I gave 8.5 out of 10, was more of a 7.5 out of 10, and this one is a 5.5 out of 10. This took a couple of notches down because although the Piper one last week, Hogan was a lot of BS. A lot of the Piper stories, he comes from an era that they just were born to just BS or overcompensate for some of their stories. It's a simple story and they have to just go over the top with it. Like his story about him playing the bagpipes and the cucaracha. Great story. Do I believe fans were pulling chairs out of the fucking ground to throw it at him? Hell the fuck no. But I guess it makes the story sound better.
I kind of believe it.
No, I don't think the fans should have been in the fucking ring, Romeo. If you believe they taking chairs out of the ground to throw it at, no, that didn't happen. But so at least we didn't get that here. But this one was lower because it just took a real downturn as far as tone. And this tried to be Dark Side of the Ring a little bit too much to me. And yes, Macho Man's story is a little bit tragic. Miss Elizabeth's story is definitely tragic, but there was a better way to kind of shape this. Like, I didn't have this feeling of I feel dirty or this made me feel depressed after the Dark Side of the Ring episode that actually was about Macho Man and Miss Elizabeth. This one was supposed to be more about Macho Man, but we never got the come up. We never got to really come up because
they tried to, but it was already, the mood was gone by then.
Because they focused so much on the darkness. They went from the Gorgeous George and Macho taking a whole bunch of drugs, him being a fucking stalker and surveillancing her house, and then they went into Lex Luger and Elizabeth's relationship leading to her death. Like,
what's hilarious? Dark Side of the Ring did a better job of ending on a brighter note than this biography did. I remember they did a much better job escalating it than this episode.
You kind of have to do
Dark Side of the Ring.
You have to do like this though. You have to go peaks and valleys, and this didn't do that. It kind of took us up, and then from WrestleMania 3 on, it just felt like this. It felt like little by little, because they didn't really focus on the Mega Powers storyline and how important that was. No. They didn't focus on him being WWF champion really, and how he was a big draw and one of the.
They mentioned it.
They didn't really mention any of that. Any of that. Yeah.
I got a sense, and this is very sad and depressing, that Randy Savage didn't really have any friends.
That's what it felt like. It did feel like that. Yeah.
Besides his brother. His brother's blood is thicker than water.
Yeah, and it was kind of weird because we got a lot of that on like different episodes, like with Austin, you have The Rock, and he was very close with him. Then with like Piper, who was like his, well, they had Gene LaBelle, who was kind of like his friend and mentor and stuff. And Macho Man kind of just had his brother. His brother would seem like that was his best friend, honestly. That was the person he was most honest with. He was close to Hogan at a time, but you're close to Hulk Hogan. This was always not going to turn out well.
It's not a fucking friend.
Not going to turn out well. Not going to turn out well at all. But yes, that brings us to the end. I give it 5.5 out of 10. Romeo gave it 6.5. We got in the comments here, Josh giving it 6 out of 10. The true draw himself, 6 out of 10 for him. He's kind of in the middle. Maybe Josh can join us next week when we talk about Booker T. Who knows? Or one of the other biographies. Let us know, Josh. But yes, let us know in the comments section if you're watching us on demand what you thought about the A&E biography, Macho Man Randy Savage. Let us know what you thought about the entire biography. What was your highlights? What was your lowlights? What was your MVP, your LVP, and whether you gave it a thumbs up or thumbs down. Join us back here next week. We got another A&E biography to get into as we are going to discuss, we're going to hear about the career and the lifetime of the five-time WCW champion Booker T. Booker T.
Gotta be more positive.
He only went to jail and stuff. They're not gonna focus too much on the AAA storyline of 2003. So at least there's that.
Oh, but what if they do?
That would be interesting. If WWE wasn't a part of their production, I know they would, but because WWE is, I'm not too certain. But we'll see. We'll have to see. It should be interesting for sure. Romeo, why don't you tell the fine people where they can find you on social media and what else you got going on the True Hill Heat YouTube channel?
Hey, follow me, the Pride of NY, Twitter and Instagram. Right here on the True Hill Heat YouTube channel, I cover NXT with my boys Chris G and Ness. NX3, catch us every week. And I don't know, Sid, are we going to be doing Dark Side of the Ring reviews too? That'd be nice.
Yes, we are. We're going to be back with our Dark Side of the Ring reviews. First up is on Brian Pillman, a two-parter. Part 1 is up right now on the Vice YouTube channel. So if you want to go take a look at part 1 before part 1 and part 2 drops, this coming, is it Tuesday or is it Thursday? Thursday, May 6th. Check it out. Vice TV, Dark Side of the Ring returns. So that means this weekend we'll be back with our Dark Side of the Ring reviews, breaking down whatever happens on this Brian Pillman documentary. I've already saw the first part and it's a goodie. It's a goodie for sure. But if you want to follow me, know what's going on with me, follow me on Twitter at TrueHeelSP3. A whole week of great content right here on the True Hill Heat YouTube channel, as well as for myself on the other YouTube channels like Powered 4 TV with Powered 4 SP3 this Wednesday, 11 a.m. Eastern Time, 4 p.m. BST. Me and John Scott talk about what's going on in the wrestling world. Also, I'll be on Wrestling Daily on Wednesday with Alex McCarthy, 3 p.m. Eastern Time, 8 p.m. BST. I'll be along with Chrissy Love, Top Guy JJ on True Hill Heat 124 on Saturday. So there's a whole bunch of great content. You got AE Recap. You got Romeo with NX3. You got the fellows with Fusion of Honor with Blunt Impact. All bunch of great content. And we got 2 exclusive interviews leading up to Battle Club Pro. May the franchise reign. 2 interviews dropping this week with Savannah Evans as well as Mixer Grimm. So go out of your way. Follow True Hill Heat on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. This has been True Hill Heat's A&E Biography, Macho Man Randy Savage review for the connoisseur of reporting, Mr. Romeo.
Oh, yeah!
It is me, your true heel phenom, SP3, and the cream of the crop. We will see you next week for the A&E biography of Booker T. Signing off until next time.